family. I was just wanting to jump on here real quick and share with you a little bit about font pairing because I know we've been talking about that in the group this week. Our topic has been about font pairing, so I just want to share how I go about using font pairing in my designs and just kind of enlighten you on that process and what it looks like. So, to start, what I typically do is I begin with the fonts that you're going to see and the fonts you want to stand out the most when you're designing. So, what would that be? The fonts that you want to stand out the most would more than likely be the name of the deceased, correct? Yes. So we want the name, the first and last name, to be the biggest on your design first. A lot of times I'll see people's designs, a lot of times in the design challenges, they're good, but the aspect ratio of the fonts are off. So celebrating the life of should not be larger than the actual name of the deceased. Okay, that's rule number one. The name should always be the biggest thing that you see besides the picture on an obituary. Okay, so let's just start there. So here, as you can see, we have Solomon and then we have Monroe. I use the fonts Sloop Script Pro, which is a professional font. It's actually an Adobe font, and it has several different font families within that font. Monroe is Cinzel. That font is called Cinzel, and it is a free font that's available with the regular Canva, the free version of Canva. You do not need to get Canva Pro in order to utilize the font Monroe. It is a free font. So I like to pair Sloop Script Pro with Monroe. I like to pair scripts with serif fonts. So Solomon is considered a script font. It is a cursive font, so it's elegant. And then I like to go with something bolder for the last name or vice versa. I also like to change the colors between my fonts to make them contrast. So you want a contrast in between your font pairings. So you don't want Solomon and Monroe to be the same color because that would be boring, right? You want to use some of the colors within your design to show contrast so that the design stands out more, right? So here I have Solomon and then I have Monroe. I mean, you can also change this and you could do this font if you want it. I like Edwardian Script. And you just go over and you could change that to Edwardian Script. That works with Monroe as well. Okay. The S actually kind of looks like a note, like one of the, not a note, but a musical symbol. As you can see, it kind of looks like a treble clef. Oh, let's see. What else can we do with Monroe? We can take Monroe and we can change the Cinzel font to something different. Like Lovely is a nice font. That works. You see how that looks? That looks nice too, right? You can also take the effects and you can, not effects, you can go to your spacing at the top and you can space it. And that would even give it an effect too, right? So the key is mixing elegant with bold. If you want, say if this person was a really bold type of person and they don't want elegant, right? They want something that is really strong and like a man, strong, a manly man. You could do, I don't like that one. Let's see. What's something really, really strong? a manly font. You could do impact, okay? You could do that. You want to do, when you're mixing your fonts or pairing your fonts, you want to do something really bold with something lightweight. So that's where your font styles come in. Font styles would be like bold, light, regular, medium, extra light, extra bold. Those are your font styles within a font family. So for instance, this font, Lovely, I only have just a regular font for that. In Impact, Solomon is in Impact. We just have the regular font for that. So what you can do is put like something really bold like Impact with something lighter weight, but they're both still serif fonts, meaning they're not a cursive font. They are a standard format font. So they're serif. Let's see what else. The next most important thing on this obituary, the front of the obituary, is the sunrise and sunset, right? So I got first breath, their birth date, last mile, their date of death. So that is very important too. As you can see, those are two different fonts. So I have a cursive font, which is a script font, mixed with a serif font, so that it gives it some balance and contrast. You want to give your designs balance and contrast. Also, another key is never do more than 2 to 3 fonts. If you're using 4, 5, or maybe even 6 fonts, that is way too many fonts. It makes your design look cluttered, too busy, and crowded. You do not want your design to be confusing. You don't want people to they're trying to figure out, okay, what should I read first? What comes next? It's kind of all over the place when you do that. You don't want to do that. You want to keep it organized, clean, and simple when you're using fonts, okay? So on this design, you can count 3 fonts. So I'm going to go back and put everything the way it was before I changed it. And if you can look at this and tell that this font is one, that's Sloop Script Pro. There it is again on last mount. There it is where there's life. There it is on the other side where you have Solomon, which is the same exact name. You have it here where it says the Monroe family. That's one font. Then we have Cinzel. It's there. It's there, actually. There. These are the same fonts. And then you have this one. Celebration of. It's Plate Gothic 4. So that's there. Forever Miss, Forever in Our Hearts there. Pallbearers, Honorary Bears, and Acknowledgements. Auspices and Program Designed by. So that is 3 fonts there. Now, when you're doing, the only time you would use more than one font is if you want, where you're doing the acknowledgements or the life reflections and all the words inside of there, you don't want to use a font that is all caps. You want to use a font that is a lower case font, like for instance, let's see, Ovo is one of my favorites to use for the inside of an obituary. So Ovo can be used for paragraphs and long format information and things like that, because it's legible. You want those to always be very legible and easy to read. You don't want it to be something complicated like cursive. You don't know. A lot of times when you're using cursive for paragraphs, people cannot understand it. They can't read it. Cursive is only really good for larger words where you can read it and it's legible. I hope that makes sense, because a lot of times people use cursive fonts for, their reflections or their order of service. You don't want to do that. Those are the most important things that people will be reading at your their going home celebration. You do not want people to not be able to read that information. So keep it simple when you're doing multiple paragraphs or long format informations or stories. And that's pretty much it for the tutorial on font pairing. Just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. If you guys want to know more about creating an actual professional obituary design, make sure that you check out my masterclass. It's coming November the 4th and the 6th. It's a 2-day masterclass. So you're going to get 3 hours on the 4th, 3 hours on the 6th, a total of 6 hours of straight designing, me and you and the rest of the class. It will be a live class. It's interactive. You get to ask questions. I answer the questions. There's Q&A. Anything you don't understand, we go over it in class, right on the spot. So I'm designing live. So it's an opportunity that you really don't want to miss if you're willing to invest in yourself. Everything is not going to be free. If you want to make money, everything is not going to be free, guys. So I had to invest in myself before I got started, and it has paid off for me. I'm a full-time graphic designer and entrepreneur. So you can do the same. I'm just here to help. If you're interested, please let me know, inbox me, message me, and then we can get you registered for our next class. So it was great sharing this information with you, and I'll see you on the other side.